Ever wondered what really goes on behind that add to cart button? Or, how your favorite local shops are suddenly reaching customers halfway across the world? Today, we're doing a deep dive into e-commerce. And when I say e-commerce, I'm not just talking about online shopping. We're pulling back the curtain on the entire digital ecosystem that makes it possible. Our mission, well, it's to demystify this revolution in how we buy, sell, and connect, drawing insights from some really foundational texts that have shaped this whole transformative field.
It's a fascinating area, definitely,
Yeah.
because e-commerce isn't merely like a convenient way to shop. It's fundamentally a paradigm shift. It has completely reimagined global reach, slashed operational costs for businesses, and utterly transformed the very nature of customer engagement. Today, we're really going to explore the core concepts, the underlying technology, and some of the innovative strategies that power modern digital commerce, hopefully helping you connect the dots on how this all fits together. It's surprisingly powerful stuff.
Okay, let's unpack this then. When you talk about a paradigm shift, what exactly makes e-commerce so radically different from, the traditional way we've always done business? I mean, beyond just you buy it online.
That's a great question because the core difference, it goes far beyond just the transaction itself. Traditionally, commerce is bound by physical spaces, right? Fixed hours, local inventory. E-commerce, by its very nature, liberates businesses from those constraints. Suddenly, a small shop in, say, Kathmandu can offer its unique products to someone halfway across the globe, 204/7. This isn't just about convenience, it's a complete reimagining of accessibility. Think about it. Traditionally, managing inventory was often a manual, kind of cumbersome process. With e-commerce, we're talking real-time tracking, automated fulfillment, and drastically lower physical overhead. You just don't need that massive brick-and-mortar footprint. For you, the consumer, this means, well, unprecedented product variety, often better pricing because of those reduced costs, and the power of instant reviews before you even commit to a purchase. It's like having an infinite superstore right at your fingertips. Now, of course, traditional commerce still has its strengths, that face-to-face interaction, being able to physically touch a product or, the inherent trust in a local shop. But the sheer velocity of e-commerce growth, driven by increasing internet and mobile penetration, particularly in places like Nepal, where platforms like Daraz have really exploded among urban consumers, it just highlights how compelling this digital convenience has become.
So it's clear there are massive differences offering really clear advantages. But I'm curious, what are some of the maybe unexpected wins for businesses? And then what's the hidden dark side or the tricky parts of this digital domain that perhaps we don't think about as much?
Yeah, the hidden wins for businesses are pretty immense. Beyond the obvious global audience reach and the 24/7 operation, the real game changer is data. E-commerce platforms generate an incredible amount of data about customer behavior, and this allows for hyper-customized marketing efforts far beyond what traditional advertising could ever achieve. Imagine tailoring an offer precisely to your preferences based on your browsing history. That's the power we're talking about. For consumers, beyond convenience and better pricing, it's really about empowerment. You have access to reviews from countless other buyers. You can compare prices instantly. It gives you a level playing field you never really had in a physical store. And platforms like Sastudio and Daraz in Nepal have truly transformed shopping for people in metropolitan areas, making it so much easier to access goods remotely. But you asked about the dark side, and yeah, it's definitely there. Cybersecurity risks are a constant battle: payment fraud, data breaches, ensuring your personal information is genuinely private. That's huge. We also lose that tactile experience. You can't physically examine a product before buying, which, let's be honest, can lead to disappointments. And then there's the logistical headache: potential delivery delays, damaged goods, or simply poor service from the delivery end. There's also a fundamental dependency on technology, like a technical glitch can shut down your entire operation. Ouch. And for businesses, the competition is brutal, and it's global. Finally, we can't ignore the digital divide. In many rural regions, digital illiteracy remains a significant barrier limiting the reach of e-commerce. Businesses have to be incredibly proactive in managing these drawbacks, constantly building and rebuilding user trust.
Okay, here's where it gets really interesting, I think. Because e-commerce isn't just this separate island of online shops, right? It's deeply integrated into this much larger, really complex digital tapestry. Can you explain that connection, particularly through something like media convergence?
Absolutely. And think about media convergence, not just as different media coming together, but as the blurring of lines between content and commerce, between entertainment and advertisement. It's the integration of traditional and digital media technologies to create one cohesive, kind of immersive communication experience. What's truly insightful here is how companies are now promoting products across television, radio, websites, and social media platforms like Facebook and TikTok, all simultaneously. So imagine watching a promotional campaign on TV, then seamlessly seeing that exact product pop up in your social media feed, or finding an influencer unboxing it on YouTube. It's less about interruption and more about seamless integration into our daily content consumption, often without us even realizing we're being marketed to. This dramatically improves user engagement, maximizes exposure across all those touch points, ensures consistent branding, and maybe most crucially allows for real-time feedback and incredibly detailed analytics. In Nepal, we've seen this profoundly impact digital marketers who now leverage memes, viral videos, and interactive ads on platforms like TikTok to connect with tech-savvy youth in a way that feels organic, not, intrusive.
That makes so much sense. It really is like the entire digital world's just one big integrated shopping mall now. And speaking of integration, I assume our mobile devices are right at the heart of this. So what role does mobile commerce or m-commerce play in this tapestry?
Exactly. M-commerce is less a separate branch and more like the central nervous system of modern e-commerce. It's focused entirely on buying and selling through mobile devices, smartphones, and tablets, emphasizing portability and that on-the-go access. The real insight here is how mobile has shifted user expectations. We now expect instant gratification, seamless transactions, and personalized experiences right there in our pockets. Key features like mobile apps, SMS payments, mobile banking, and QR code-based transactions are fundamental to this. In Nepal, services like ESO, IME-Pay, and apps like Daraz provide these incredibly seamless purchasing experiences, particularly for urban users who basically live their lives on their phones. This mobile-first approach facilitates real-time offers, push notifications that grab your attention immediately, and even geo-targeted promotions based on your location. It dramatically increases user engagement, convenience, speed, and allows for deeply personalized recommendations. Of course, challenges remain, like limited screen size, sometimes inconsistent internet access, and the ever-present risk of mobile fraud. But given the absolute dominance of mobile devices, businesses must optimize for mobile to effectively capture the attention of younger, mobile-first consumers. There's no way around it.
So we've got the overall shift, the benefits, the challenges, and this incredible interwoven digital world. But what does this all mean for different kinds of businesses and individuals? Like, who is selling to whom, and how are those relationships structured in the e-commerce world? Let's break down the different business models.
That's a crucial question, because e-commerce isn't a one-size-fits-all model. Let's start with B2B, or business to business. This is about transactions between two businesses. Think a manufacturer selling raw materials to a wholesaler, or a wholesaler supplying products to a retailer. What's often overlooked here is the complexity. These are usually high-volume, recurring transactions that demand strong relationships and deep system integration. It's not just about a simple add-to-cart kind of thing. Think of global giants like Alibaba, or right here in Nepal, maybe a wholesaler using online platforms to sell bulk raw materials to manufacturers or retailers. The benefits are immense. Streamlined procurement, reduced operational costs across the whole supply chain, and vastly improved inventory control. The challenge, though, is that these involve complex decision-making processes, often lengthy negotiation cycles, and long-term contracts. The digital transformation in B2B relies heavily on sophisticated enterprise resource planning or ERP systems, customized portals, and incredibly secure transaction platforms. It's kind of the invisible plumbing of the industrial world.
That's a great distinction. The visible plumbing. It's not always just what the consumer sees. So if that's B2B, then what about what most of us think of as e-commerce?
Right. That would be B2C, or business to consumer. This is businesses selling directly to individual customers, usually through online platforms. It's the most common and visible e-commerce model, and its emphasis is squarely on personalized user experiences, competitive pricing, and, of course, convenience. Daraz and Sastodil are prime examples in Nepal, selling everything from electronics to groceries directly to you, the consumer. The advantages for businesses here are faster purchase cycles, a much broader customer base than any physical store could ever hope for, and those invaluable customer insights gleaned from data analytics. But the flip side is fierce competition, often lower margins because of that competition, and the constant need for engagement and advertising just to stand out from the crowd. Crucial elements here are intuitive user interface design, transparent customer reviews, seamless payment gateways, and clear return policies. These are really the pillars of customer satisfaction in the B2C world.
Okay. And what about when we, as individuals, want to sell things to each other? like on Facebook Marketplace or something.
Exactly. That's where C2C or consumer to consumer comes in. This model allows individuals to sell goods or services directly to each other, typically facilitated by an online marketplace. Platforms like Hammer Bazaar and Facebook Marketplace in Nepal provide that crucial infrastructure. The platform itself usually earns revenue through ads, listing fees, or maybe transaction services. It's especially effective for selling used goods, personal creations, or services, whether it's an old couch, handmade crafts, or even renting out a spare room online. The real power here lies in its low entry barriers, wide audience reach, and incredible flexibility. Basically, anyone can become a seller. However, the challenges are significant. A lack of centralized quality control, higher fraud risks compared to established businesses, and often tricky dispute resolution issues. Who do you complain to, right? The key to mitigating these challenges and building user trust lies in features like digital verification, secure messaging systems within the platform, and integrated payment methods that protect both the buyer and the seller.
Fascinating. So we've covered businesses selling to businesses selling to consumers, and consumers selling to other consumers. But is there a way that consumers can actually sell to businesses? That sounds backwards.
It does sound backwards, but absolutely. This is the C2B, or consumer to business model, which essentially reverses the traditional selling process. Here, individuals offer their services or products to businesses. Think of freelance platforms like Fiverr, where designers or writers offer their skills to companies needing specific tasks done, or participating in online surveys for money, providing valuable market research data back to businesses. And a huge one today, influencers promoting brands on TikTok or YouTube. In Nepal, this could be local content creators partnering with businesses for digital promotion, offering product reviews, or even providing design inputs based on their audience feedback. The benefits for businesses are immense: access to dynamic pricing, a diverse pool of creative talent, and demand-driven collaboration. It's often cost-effective for businesses, and it opens up income opportunities for consumers. The challenges can include inconsistent quality from individual providers, potential intellectual property risks, and reliance on those third-party platforms. But ultimately, this model enables incredible innovation in marketing, product development, and service customization by leveraging consumer-generated content and participation in ways we just couldn't imagine before.
Okay, this is great. But none of this, of course, happens in a vacuum. It all relies on a foundational technology we use every single day, but maybe rarely stop to think about: the internet itself. I mean, how do we even get here? What are the key features that make it the perfect backbone for e-commerce?
That's really the unsung hero of the entire e-commerce revolution, isn't it? The internet. From its origins as ARPANET back in the 1960s, it transformed into a truly global commercial network in the 1990s. The real turning point for e-commerce, you could argue, was the adoption of TCP/IP in 1983 that standardized how computers talk to each other. And then, of course, the launch of the World Wide Web in 1991. Those two innovations basically laid the groundwork for easy information sharing and clickable links. Then came the explosion of broadband and mobile internet in the 2000s, turning it into this truly pervasive force. The internet's core features global accessibility, interoperability, scalability, and decentralization. These are precisely what make e-commerce possible on such a grand scale. Cloud services, streaming, social media platforms, they all thrive because of this infrastructure. And when we talk about Web 1.0 being static, Web 2.0 bringing interactivity in social media, and Web 3.0 aiming for decentralization and user ownership, the underlying insight there is how each generation fundamentally shifted the power dynamic online. From companies just pushing content out, to users creating and interacting, and now potentially to users owning their data and maybe bypassing intermediaries entirely. This evolution is what enables real-time transactions, global reach, and the vital data collection that fuels e-commerce.
That's a great point about the power dynamic shifting. And to navigate this vast digital landscape, we obviously need addresses. So how do domain names work? And what organizations kind of keep this all organized?
Right. Think of domain names as the easy-to-remember street addresses of the internet. They're human-readable names like www.example.com that replace those complex numeric IP addresses computers actually use. They consist of a name and a top-level domain like .com for commercial, .edu for educational, or .gov for government, which helps categorize the website's purpose. The critical insight here for e-commerce is that a memorable and effective domain name isn't just an address. It significantly enhances brand visibility, builds trust, and can even boost your search engine ranking. It's like your digital storefront sign. Keeping this entire global address book organized is the job of organizations like ICANN, the Internet Corporation for Assigned Names and Numbers. They manage the global domain name system and coordinate IP address allocation. Without them, honestly, the internet would be chaos, and e-commerce would be impossible to navigate reliably.
Okay. And when we talk about networks, how do the different types, LAN, MAN, WAN, how do they actually support the various scales of e-commerce from maybe a local business to a huge global giant?
Great question. These network types basically describe the geographic reach and functionality, which are crucial for delivering digital services effectively. A LAN, or local area network, connects computers within a limited area, think an office, your home, or maybe a college campus connecting its departments. It offers high speed and low latency, perfect for the internal operations of a single business location. Then you scale up to a MAN, or a metropolitan area network. This spans a city or a large campus connecting multiple LANs together. A telecom company using a MAN to provide services across a city is a classic example. This lets businesses with multiple branches in one city operate more like one cohesive unit. And finally, the WAN, or wide area network, covers broad areas, even globally. The internet itself is the largest example of a WAN. Multinational corporations rely heavily on WANs for their cross-border operations, allowing them to manage supply chains, process transactions, and communicate